Welcome back to Blackacre Ranch, everybody. We are installing a gate today. We have a 14-foot gate from Steve. We're going to put it in. It's going to go on our small pasture, the one that we've been doing. Actually, it's not the small one. The small one was the 2.5 acres, okay? If you haven't seen all that stuff, that's a whole other set of episodes. Go ahead and click the link above. You'll see it. This is on the small handling facility. It's about 3/4 acre. So we're going to install a gate and talk a little bit about some of the things to do when you're installing a gate. It's fairly simple. It's not rocket science. I'll try not to make this too this, then this, kind of step by step, but you know, it's hanging a gate, right? You can't get too complex with it. So let's see if we can have some fun as we're doing it. It's just a gate. Don't overcomplicate it. All right, stick around. Okay, everybody, putting tools together to do this gate. This is what I'm starting with. This is not perfect about everything that you're going to possibly need. You're going to need some wrenches, tape measure, pencil, some channel lock pliers, adjustable pliers, whatever it is, a drill, and a drill bit. So this is going to typically go where you get all the drills and all the tools that you think you need. There you go. And you find out that you're missing one of them. You're going to probably need more than this, okay? And maybe these aren't the ideal tools. Suck it up and just do it, right? So we're going to get this done and kind of talk to you about the gate as we're doing it. But this is what we're starting with. We have a bunch of other tools left here. Oh, and the level. See, you need a level too. But hatchet, rope, you know, all the stuff that you would normally think. And worst case scenario, if it doesn't fit right, use a sledge. So that's kind of what we're dealing with. And I think we're going to get this done. Okay, Steve, when he gave us the gate, it didn't have any of the hardware, which is cool and all. So we went over and picked up, you can just buy hardware installation kit things. And this is the hardware. Typically what you're gonna have is, this is an all thread. It's gonna go through the entire post. There are some kits that you can get that just have lag screws that just screw in. Those can rip out, okay? If you're having anything of substantial size that you're trying to pin in, don't do it, okay? Just go with a full thread. We're gonna then squeeze it on both ends. It's all the way through the post. Better way to go. If all you got is little baby goats, do whatever you want, but substantial size, go with something bigger. These are the rings that go around the posts that are vertical at the one end. This is where the hinge goes. Here's the hinge pin, and then we have just a bunch of washers. So really this boils down to drill a hole, put these in, tighten this on the posts, put them up, and you're there, okay? Let's learn a few things along the way and see there are some kind of things to keep in mind as we're doing this. But anyway, nuts and bolts, pretty simple.
Don't you need my help? So beastly.
Okay, full disclosure, this is the first gate I've put in. So that's a benefit to you because I'm gonna do all the dumb stuff, okay? But I do know, first a thing, know how big your gate is height-wise, and know how far off the ground you wanna put it, okay? You can use anything you want. You don't even have to put anything if you don't want. I chose to put it on some pallets. This may be a dumb idea, I don't know. But we're gonna be whatever distance that is off the ground, okay? Let's measure. Roughly about 10 inches, which is pretty standard actually. So this is gonna be 10 inches off the ground. This is a total of 50 inches high. So that's gonna run us at 60 inches, which is 5 feet. Those hardcore metal ones that we have, that are full welded through and everything, they're beastly, they're taller than this. So we're just gonna try and get a lineup point, and then we're gonna put the little hinges on the sides and mark kind of where we're gonna be at. There are different ways to do this, okay? This is not the only way. You just need to find some way to get your marks on the side. So alternately, you could just take the tape measure and say, look, all right, if we want to be 10 inches off the ground, I want to have my first 10 inches come up to here or to the bottom rail. You select, and then how far up do you want to put your first bracket, okay? You don't want to have your bracket be right up against something. You want to be able to maneuver it up and down. They can come on and off, they can slide up and down the post, so you can adjust the height of your fence a little bit afterwards. But you're looking for just some spitball number right now. So in general, this is the stuff, okay? Here's your pin. This is just gonna slide right up into that, and it swivels, all right? This is gonna go around your gate somewhere in here. On top, it's gonna slide down, okay? You don't want anybody just lifting your gate up, or your animal lifting your gate up and just unhinging it. If you put them both like this, he's just gonna lift the gate up and tear it out. Okay, so one of them should be on top, okay? Typically the top one's on top, bottom one's on bottom, okay? This guy is just gonna slide in over here, and the pin will come up like this. So when you're measuring where this guy goes, don't force him to have to be at one of these posts, cross rails. Just average him right in the middle, and you can use a tape measure. All right, once you've done that, you can measure from bottom to the top of the other one, because that's where this measurement is going to be, okay? The top of that thread, okay? So at the bottom, you need to know what the bottom is, and at the top, you need to know what the top mark is, that gap, okay? So we're going to measure from the bottom up to whatever distance is right here, so 10 inches plus, give me about another 6. So we're gonna go 16 inches up the post. If I'm 6 at the bottom, I come up, there's 43, subtract off the 6, that means I'm now 30, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 37. So I'm going to be 37 inches from here to here on the top up here. Okay, so I'm going to measure on my post 6, and then I'm going to go up to 43, or it's a 37-inch gap between them. And that'll get me the top part on the top and the bottom on the bottom. All right, measure once, cut twice, right? One thing you want to watch out for is that you don't put your hinges right through the barbed wire or other straps, okay? I am coming in here, which is obviously plenty good, and I'm right in the middle here, which is all safe and good as well. So now it's time just to drill your holes. The threaded hinges on this one are 3/4 of an inch in diameter. You're going to want to keep those relatively that same size. These threaded ones should be fairly snug going through, that you might have to use a hammer to get them in. I do realize that this is probably a little bit of a fancy overkill. Drill bit selection has an influence in that, and 2, the length. If you don't go long enough, you're going to have to come back on the backside, and that's just... I never get it directly equal, and measurements are never 100% perfect, so. If I messed up now, it kind of sucks. All right, it's time for the nut. And don't forget, you have a washer and a nut on either side. So you want to put your nut first, then your washer, put this in, and then washer, then nut on the back side. Now this is 12-inch long, so this is going to take a little bit of time. A lot of time. We'll come back after a commercial. All right, at first, go ahead and open it up all the way to wherever it goes, as far as it's going to go. We don't know exactly how far in we're going to be putting these. You will flatten it out a little bit. This used to be round, but it's now flat. They tell you to make it, snug, and it's 3/4, and so I did 3/4 hole. Maybe I should have done a 7/8. I don't know. That's pretty snug, but you don't want it rotating around as the gate moves. So you do want it snug in the hole. So my wife suggested maybe it's just a rotating, but I don't know. I don't want to try that on the bottom one. So I should have tried that up here. So maybe I'll still use the sledge. I don't know.
Gonna wash your nut. This back side. This top one.
So I gave up. This sucker was not getting in, it was just spinning around. So I had to use the hammer again. Okay, next up are these little clamp.
Hi, I win. I
All
can
right.
clamp.
Everything requires a sledge.
Uh-huh. There you go. One more.
Let's do the top. Okay, just checking. Make sure I have it on the right rails before I go too far. Okay. This top guy, I'm gonna have to slide it down. And so I'm not gonna tighten these down all the way. I'm first gonna get on the hinges, let these slide up until I get them in position, and then I'm gonna lock them down tight. In general, after we get them on, then what we can do is probably take them on and off, because we wanna make sure that the gap here is correct. And by moving these out and maybe the bottom one in, you can kind of cause a tilt in your gate upward or downward. Depending on the terrain, you might wanna do that. Once we know that these are set where we wanna go, and that it's at the height we want it, then we tighten everything down and we put the washers and all that other stuff on the back side, tighten them up, and then we're good to go.
I wondered why you put that first one at the top so low.
There. Okay.
You good?
Yeah. Okay, so my snow bunny,
Hi.
she mentioned it looks really low, and it does. So the reason why, my error, and we're gonna have to fix this now, it kind of sucks, is at the bottom, I measured from the ground up 6 inches to put this here, and I should have gone 10 inches plus the 6 up here, so I should have gone 16 inches. I only went 6. And so you can tell from the hinges looking at them, this doesn't make sense. So what we're gonna have to do is pull all these out, re-drill them. Gosh, this sucks. And then redo what we just did.
Well, you told them you were going to make all the mistakes. Go ahead.
If I messed up now, it kind of sucks. Yes.
For them. So you're just showing them what not to do.
So,
Don't do that.
yeah.
Measure
Don't
twice.
do what I do. Measure 3 times.
Yeah.
I don't know. Gosh. All right, let's redo this. Now the ultimate moment is, can we actually open it wide?
Move the pallet out of the way. There we go.
Yeah, baby!
Yay! The gate works!
First gate! Suck it! Woo!
Just 2 tries, right?
Just 2 tries.
It's fine.
4 holes.
4 holes, fine.
But it opens, baby! Yeah! So So a couple things I want to point out, and I don't know if you can actually
Tell, see.
just, it can happen. Stuff that can happen. So just to think about. All right. So when building your fence, you put your H braces up. I don't know the simple calculation to ensure this will never happen, ever possibly in a chance. But if for some dumb reason the spacing was such that it was going to put it next to this pin or get right inside this H brace, the cross member, that would have sucked. I wouldn't want to be any closer. Just be aware that that might happen, and before you start drilling tons of holes, maybe just look to make sure you're not going to hit the cross brace. All right, now here's the second part. So this one, this is the brace pin that goes into the cross member and it hits the gate. Now, you know, this isn't do or die. What I think I might just do is try and hammer this guy in more, but again, it contacts. Point number 3 is when the gate is bigger than your opening, the existing chain may not work. So you can see ours is way out. That's no big deal, okay? I don't mind that so much. I'm just gonna go buy a chain and wrap it around here, and I might actually anchor it, screw it to the post with like a lag, and then be able to wrap it and chain it. So I don't have to worry about this guy. Just as a word of the wise, it's probably pretty good if you actually lock all of yours. I know it's easy just to use this kind of contraption over here with a built-in chain and just slide it through the slot and everything. But you know, you could have some prick neighbors. You know, you could have somebody who just comes on your land and wants to be a jerk, and somebody could accidentally just open it, somebody purposely open it and let all your animals out. So it might be good just to get a chain and actually have a lock. Use the same combo for all your gates, or have the same key for all your gates, or you know, whatever it is. But best practices, you know, maybe it's actually good to actually lock your gates. So that's what I'm going to typically do, is get a combo lock or something and lock all my gates. Now, it doesn't have to be an astronomically 3-inch chain or something. I mean, gosh, if anybody wants to get in, they'll get in. But just to deter the honest people and make it frustrating for the dishonest people, I guess is what we're trying to do. All in all, I think it was a fairly simple process. And you got to see us make a bunch of mistakes, and that's part of why we do this. It's not because I think I'm perfect, I'm a super instructor or something, but you know, we're newbies and we're trying to show you real life examples of the dumb things we do. And I think sometimes as I watch videos, as I hear or see some of the dumb things somebody did by accident, it's actually kind of enlightening, because you actually kind of see, yes, I would have done that same thing. So hopefully you learn from what I just did. Measure 3 times, maybe you change up the order how you do the hinges, verify as you go, whatever it is. But keep in mind a couple of things. One, it's a gate. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be functional there. You do maybe want to go back if you want, and you can grind off those all threads so they're not so long. If you ever have to adjust the gate or something later on, you don't have to go all the way out. We've got probably about, I don't know, 7 inches hanging out of these things. So, but otherwise, yeah, it looks good. And I hope you learned something, as I said before. So we appreciate you joining with us. Keep staying along. I'm gonna get better at gates. It's nicer when you do it with some more experience, but you always gotta start somewhere. So join us next time, and like and subscribe as always, guys. We've got a lot more going on. This is just one thing, as I've said before. Tons of buildings, animals, pastures galore. We wanna share it with you, and so enjoy the journey with us, all right? Talk to you later.
With you, I wanna stay with you.